What's up guys, Teach113 here, and in today's video we're going to be unboxing the TLOG Mini rice cooker. Alright guys, so what we got here is the TLOG Mini rice cooker. Specifically, this model is the one that cooks up to 2 cups of uncooked rice, and it has an internal capacity of 1.2 liters. Now, just a quick heads up guys, if the video doesn't look quite as good or the lighting isn't great, I apologize. The setup here, I'm in the middle of a move, so unfortunately my filming setup isn't going to be quite as good as normal, but that's the best I can do. Alright, so let's get back into this mini rice cooker. Now this particular cooker came in this box, so unfortunately not super discreet. If you live in an area that is prone to porch pirates and that sort of thing, then you might want to make sure that this is something that you deliver to a local Amazon locker or maybe a friend's house or something like that, just because there was no external packaging whatsoever. It was very obvious what's in here, and somebody might just want to walk off with this, so keep that in mind. So this is the gray model. Now this thing has multiple functions. It's got an intelligent cook function, so it's going to give you better quality rice than a super dumbed down simple rice cooker. However, I don't think this has what's called the fuzzy logic that your Zeroshi and all these other brands are going to have. So keep that in mind. And definitely from some of the reviews that I've seen, the long-term keep warm function is not nearly as good as the Zujiroshi, or however you pronounce it. Those fancy Japanese ones. Those ones, you can leave them with warm rice in there overnight, and the rice will still be nice and fluffy and moist the next day. Something like this, from what I've seen, probably best to take the rice out after a couple hours. All right. So let's take a look. Now this thing is currently available on Amazon for about $45. Obviously, price is subject to change, so keep that in mind. I'll leave a link in the description for both color options, the white and the gray, for whatever the most updated price is. So we've got our little instruction manual right here. We've got the rice cooker itself. And then we've got a pair of tongs. I'm not sure what that's for yet. And then we've got a nice little paddle. I like that it is the sort of raised bump variety, because this type is definitely the best for reducing stickage of rice. I've seen a lot of different types. The raised bump variety seems to avoid sticking the best, so we'll have to test that out at some point. Here's the rice cooker. Very cute, I guess you'd say. And one of the reasons I bought this personally is because it is one of the few rice cookers out there that still cooks a reasonable amount of rice, maybe enough for 2 people for 1 meal, if you're eating a large amount of carbs, and it is still low power enough to run off of almost any decently sized solar generator or power station. And that's primarily why I got this thing, because in an emergency or in a scenario where the power's gone out and all I've got are my solar generators and I don't have time to run the gas generator, or it's too noisy, or I don't have any gas, or whatever the scenario is, I'd like to be able to run this off battery power. And really the only way I can do that is with something that's low enough power. And of course, I don't want to have to break out the inverter and the deep cycle battery and all that other stuff. So if I just want a plug and play solution with a solar generator, something like this is really great. Now before we open it up, I'll just give you the details here on the back. So this thing this thing only draws 200 watts, and that is well within the margins of operation for almost any solar generator. Even some of my base ones that only have 300 watt inverters, this thing will do just fine. Even if it surges up by 50 or even 100 watts, it'll still be within the operating range of those inverters. So we'll have to obviously test that, because of course if it doesn't do that, then it's going back, because it's not going to serve my purpose. So here we've got the lid. So let's see if I can remove this. Okay, so the lid can be removed to be washed. We've got nice silicone seals around the edge here, a little steam dissipator. Looks like a little steam tray, your rice measuring cup, power cord, so it's nice. The adapter, the AC, I guess, converter, I would say. The AC adapter portion to sort of the AC to DC converter is internal. So all you've got here is the power cord on the outside. That's nice for storage and ease of organization. And lastly, you've got your rice pot. Certainly smaller than the rice pots I'm used to, but hey man, this thing is very, very small. So you have to keep that in mind. So now that we've got those things out of the way, let's take a closer look at the front panel here and see what our options are. So obviously you've got your rice button, your preset button, which I think is a timer button, your brown rice mode, your yogurt mode, which is nice, it lets you do yogurt, and you have a dedicated soup/congee button. Now for those of you guys that don't know what congee is, it's basically a rice porridge. So if you've ever made rice and you added too much water, well, if you add just a little bit more than just slightly too much water and you get sort of a soupy consistency, that's kind of what congee is. And a lot of times it's a traditional Chinese dish, and a lot of times it's eaten for breakfast, although I know that it gets eaten for all different kinds of meals. And you can put in beef, little bits of vegetables, whatever, obviously salt to season it, and it's pretty good. So, but it's nice that there is a dedicated mode. I guess these lights light up, and you know what? What we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna go ahead and fill this with some water just so we can test it. And then I'm gonna get one of my solar generators and we're gonna try this thing out. All right guys, so what I've got here is my Maxoak Bluetti AC50S, and I've got the inverter on, as you can see. I'm gonna get the power cord here. And right now, I just want to do this test, and then afterwards, I will go over the instructions, and so that I can better guide you guys through the different modes. But for now, I want to see if this thing will even work, because again, that was my biggest and most important use case for this thing. Okay, well, let's see. All right, so it made a noise. So let's go ahead and just select the rice mode. Is it going? Oh wait, maybe it's waiting for me to put the lid on there? I don't know. Oh, let's see. So they weren't lying about the power draw on this thing. You can see here on the AC output, we're drawing 210 watts. So this thing is well within the operating margins of this AC50S. This thing has a max continuous draw on the inverter of 300 watts. This is well below that. There's a lot of headroom. Definitely a good option. If you guys have a little tiny solar generator like this, or the Jackery of similar size, this will be no sweat for either of those, and you can cook rice no problem. Let's go ahead and see. And that's how it is. And again, this thing is super portable. It's really compact. So if you guys are somebody that travels a lot on the road, I know this is going to be something that's super popular with truckers. Truckers are always talking about, bringing a little lunch box or something like that they can plug in and heat up food that's already cooked. But if you want to make a full meal in one, what you could do is you could bring your meat, your veggies, and your rice, and you can cook it all in this little rice cooker. Now, it's not quite an instant pot, but it does serve a lot of the same functions. And like we talked about before, it's got a yogurt mode. You've got a mode for differentiation between brown and white rice, and you've got a soup mode too. So again, that's another thing. You can make soup on the go. That's really nice. It's not super complicated. It's not super digital. As you can see, there's not even a display here, but nonetheless, you're going to want to know how all these different modes operates that way through the instructions here. And I will say, I understand why some people I read in the reviews on Amazon said that this thing was a little confusing when it came to operation. Now this particular thing, if you look at the instructions on the rice cook mode, it says, when cooking rice, connect the power cord from the appliance to the power supply, then press the rice cook button. A red LED will begin to blink for about 5 seconds. While LED is blinking, you can now set how long to cook the rice by pressing the preset time button. You can set it to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or 12 hours depending on how much rice you're cooking. Once you set the time, the LED light will stop flashing and the preset time is now secured. The rice cooker will automatically turn off when rice is done cooking. Now it's a little confusing to me because I think if you just press it and then don't touch the preset button and just leave it, it will just cook the rice automatically. So I don't know what the whole, preset thing is, but it's a little strange, especially since if you look at the brown rice mode, the brown rice mode's instructions are as follows. Plug in the appliance, press the brown rice button to start cooking. After 5 seconds, the cooking brown rice indicator light will turn on. The display screen will show a chasing light pattern and it'll begin cooking. The cooking process takes from 45 minutes to an hour, and in 5, once the cooking is done, it can be kept warm for about 10 hours. That means keep warm within 10 hours should changed rice for cooking. So it's the English isn't great, but basically it says that it's safe to keep the rice in there for about 10 hours. So that's not going to be as good as your, Zujiroshi, or, again, forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but you know what I mean. The Japanese rice cookers with the, advanced logic and all that stuff, you can leave rice in there for like 3 days and it'll still be edible and soft by day 3. For this, you're really going to be like, if you set this, before you go to sleep, maybe when you wake up, you'll still have good rice and it'll be ready to go. But I definitely wouldn't leave this, don't, set this to start cooking around lunchtime the day before you're going to want it, because definitely you're going to want to switch it out by then. Now for the yogurt mode, this is interesting. The instructions are as follows. Fill ceramic inner pot with milk and then place on stovetop. Heat milk to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm a little confused. It's saying fills ceramic inner pot. I'm pretty sure that inner pot is not ceramic, and I definitely don't advise putting it on a stove. So I'm a little confused by that. Maybe they mean this, but that's not ceramic either. So I don't know. Then it says add mixture to inner pot. Be sure inner pot is clean and dry before placing into rice cooker. The digital display will count down in 1-minute increments. Once incubation is complete, store the yogurt in an airtight container in a refrigerator. Do not leave in the rice cooker. So, it seems pretty straightforward, just like most yogurt recipes. It's about the same, except I'm not sure what the distinction is here, but personally, again, if I'm totally wrong about this and you guys already own one of these and you've tried it yourself, let me know below, but I wouldn't recommend using that inner pot on the stove at all. It's got a very sensitive non-stick coating, and I wouldn't chance putting that on the stove at all. Now, for the 60-minute congee mode, the sort of congee soup mode, here's what it says. When cooking congee soup, connect the power cord to the appliance, to a power supply, then choose how you want congee soup cooked by pressing the 60-minute congee soup. By choosing the 60-minute congee soup, your congee will be more watery. Congee soup button option will make the soup thicken. After choosing how long the soup will cook, the red LED button will stop blinking. The rice cooker will turn off automatically when congee is done cooking. So I'm not sure exactly how that works. So why don't we go ahead and try that. And then also I'll just read this right here. The keep warm function, connect the power cord from the appliance. The keep warm/cancel button will start blinking. This means it is on standby. Press the keep warm/cancel button and the electric cooker will start the warm function. The pot's temperature will stay between 55 and 60 degrees Celsius. So 55 to 60 degrees Celsius, that's 131 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. You can also use the keep warm/cancel button when canceling other functions. In doing so, the cooker will return to standby mode. So it's pretty simple, honestly, interface. But it's still going right now, so I can feel it getting warm because I have it on the rice cook mode. But let's just take a look real quick inside and see how it's doing. So yeah, the water is, I don't know if you guys can see that, but It's definitely, I can see the steam. It's getting ready to boil. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cancel that. So just test out the cancel button. All right, we've canceled it. Now let's hit that to keep warm. Let's see how much power this thing draws and keep warm, okay? Well, nothing right now because again, it's still super hot. So the logic probably tells it not to activate the element. Cancel that again. Let's see how this soup kanji button works. So, oh, I see. So this allows me to select a time. 2, 4, 6, 8. So, okay, I got it. So if I just don't select anything, then I believe it'll just cook for an hour, just like it did with the rice mode. And we're drawing 210, 211 watts, so the same amount of power. Let's go ahead and cancel that. Let's try the yogurt mode. See how much power that draws. Okay, so I think because it's so warm, it's not really activating the heating element because I'm not seeing any power draw there. So again, just because we were trying to do the rice cooking mode. So let's cancel that, and then let's try the brown rice mode. Again, it seems like instructions are a little unclear, but all the modes allow for that time selection there. So if you want to preset the time, or if you just wanted to have it do it automatically, then you just let it go. So like if we just let this go, and it goes automatically, it should start cooking the brown rice right away. Now, brown rice cooking, of course, has a little bit different logic to it, so that's probably why the heating element isn't activating right now. Because if I cancel that, and then I go to regular rice mode and let it just do it automatically, I'm willing to bet you that it's gonna start drawing power. Yep. So again, you can see we're at 211 watts. So I really like this thing, guys. Definitely a great travel companion if you enjoy making rice or soup or whatever. Great to have on the road. And also great to know that you can power it off of one of these solar generators or portable power stations, whatever you got. And so in the case of an emergency, when maybe it's just you or you and your partner or something like that, having something like this is going to be invaluable for being able to make warm food and be able to run off of your existing backup power supplies. Because I know a lot of you guys might live in apartments or condos or something like that where you just don't have the ability to run a generator outside, and maybe you don't even have a whole lot of backup power. You've only got one of these things or a deep cycle battery, an inverter or something like that. Having something like this is going to be great because it allows you to make warm food without drawing a ton of power. Because again, in an emergency, you're not going to be making a 5-course meal, right? You're going to be making a little bit of rice, warming up some meat or whatever in there, making a soup or something like that, just enough for one meal. And so there's no reason to use a giant rice cooker that draws like 1,200 watts. It doesn't make any sense. So having something like this is great. With that being said, guys, I really do like this thing, and I will definitely be putting out a video in the future letting you guys know how it continues to hold up, put it through its paces. So definitely keep an eye out for that. So if you like this video, be sure to give me a like. If you have any questions, comments, your own experiences with the TLOG Mini Rice Cooker, definitely leave that in the comments below. And as always, if you want to see more, don't forget to get subscribed.